Hi guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, we're going to be learning a really fun reggae rhythm and riff. So this lesson is actually part of our concept lesson series, which is all about learning to jam in an ensemble setting. So as you guys already saw and heard, the ensemble setting for this tune is a drummer and a bass player. Now I think the big takeaway of this song is going to be learning some of the stylistic approaches to reggae music as it relates to that rhythm and the riff. So we're going to jump into all of that in just a little bit, but let's go ahead and talk about the lesson. So in this video, you guys are going to learn both sections. You're going to learn the riff and the rhythm part. But if you want to get the tabs to print off and follow along with, you can do so by clicking this link or going to the site rockclass101.com and doing a search for EP011. That's the lesson number for this lesson. Now also on that page will be the on-screen tab viewer. So this is a really cool feature where you can hit play, you can watch the tab scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish, just a really great asset for tackling this song that much easier. And last but not least, there's going to be a couple backing tracks on the page, so you're going to be able to download the bass, drums, and rhythm part without the riff, and the opposite, the bass, drums, and riff without the rhythm part. And they're going to be available in 3 different speeds, 100%, 75, and 50%. So once you learn both parts, you can rock out and jam out with the band at home. All right, so we're going to kick off with learning the rhythm part. If you want to skip ahead and learn the riff, I'll put the timestamp right there. So there's only 3 chords in the rhythm part. So let's learn those really quick. So the first 2, I have a feeling we already know. They're the stock G and the stock F. And then we have a variation on an F. We have an F6, so it's a partial bar chord. So take that index, lay flat on the 5th fret, strings 1, 2, and 3, and go ahead and strum down. So just take a second and get used to that. You can put it into some time frame if any of these chords are new. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Just to help you cycle through, get the muscle memory for the changes down. So with that said, let's talk about the cardinal trait of reggae, and that is the rhythm. And the rhythm is specifically going to be playing on the upbeats. So let's break that down. If I put up 8th note rhythm right here, you can see that it follows the golden rule of thumb. Anytime we have a downbeat, we strum down. Anytime we have an upbeat, we strum up. So go ahead and make the basic G chord. If we count this out, we have 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? Just down, up, down, up, down, up. Very basic stuff. Now, if we get rid of every downbeat, every 1, 2, 3, 4, then we're only left with the upbeats, the ends. So we have 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so I want you to try that with me. So keep that G chord intact. Take the index finger. I want you to just do an up strum and see if you can target strings 1, 2, and 3. Okay, if you hit string 4, that's fine. Don't worry too much about it. But we're going to play on every end. So here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what reggae rhythm is. It's playing on the ends of the beat, the ups of the beat. Awesome. So now that we understand that that rhythm is being played all on the ends or the upbeats, the big question you probably have in your mind is, well, it doesn't sound like reggae at all. And the reason why is because we are sustaining the chord instead of creating a staccato, choppy sound. And that staccato-y sound is what encompasses the feel of reggae. So let's learn how to do that. So go ahead and make that G chord again, and I want you to, instead of doing an up strum, let's just pluck the chord. So we're going to pluck string 3, 2, and 1. And what I want you to do is I want you to lift pressure up off that chord after you pluck it. Okay, so you can see that I'm still touching the strings, but when I lift up, it mutes the sound. Okay, so you don't want to pluck and lift everything up, right? Or else you'll get some unwanted string noise. You want to just lift up, but keep touching in exactly the same position, right? You're lightly touching the strings the same way you would do if you were to do a muted strum. So just lightly touch the strings, stay in the same position, because remember, you're going to be consecutively playing chords, so we don't want to be moving our hand at all. So we want to keep in the same position. Okay, so here's what I want you to do off the bat. Pluck, and then just lightly lift up and get it to cut the sound. Now, when you get comfortable with that, you want to speed it up a little bit. So I want you to work on pushing yourself to go a little bit faster. Okay, so pluck, lift up, pluck, lift up, pluck, lift up, pluck, lift up. Okay, now you may hear a little bit of string vibration ringing out, so we're going to do a safeguard to make sure that everything gets cut in the sound. So with the palm of our right hand, after we do the pluck and the staccato lift up, I want you to take the palm of your right hand, lightly touch the strings. That's going to ensure that everything gets cut in the volume and the sound, so nothing will sustain. So I pluck, lift up, and then touch with the palm of my right hand. And you can see and you can hear, it's just a clean bop, bop, bop. It's just a perfectly executed clean staccato sound. Okay, so hit pause on this video, just work on that a little bit. Now, we're approaching creating this staccato sound with a pluck. You can do that throughout this piece of music. You can use the pluck approach. It sounds awesome. Like if you really like how that sounds, it gives a really crisp attack. You can do that throughout this piece of music, or you can revert back to what we originally did, which was an up strum. Okay, so you can do the same approach, just doing with an up strum. And so forth. So it's up to you on which one you like. So there's no right or wrong. You pick the one that sounds the best to you or feels the easiest to do in terms of right hand. Now, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can just take that G chord and play on the ends and create that staccato sound. So here we go. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. So once you get comfortable with that, you can start to put those concepts into the actual music. So if we look at measure number 1, we're just going to be playing 2 G's into 2 F's. So remember, playing on the ends. It sounds a little bit like this. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So when we go to the F chord, it's going to present a little bit harder of a staccato sound to create. The reason why is because it has open strings, right? So you have 2 open strings. So this chord is really going to depend more so on that palm of your right hand to create that staccato mute, right? So you can still do the lift up with that index finger, right? But your right hand is really going to be controlling that staccato mute sound. So keep that in mind as you're working on this one. But let's try this. Let's see if we can go 2 G's, 2 F's, just bar 1. 3 and 4 and 1. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Nice. Going into measure 2, we're going to do 2 G's into F6. Okay? So let's see if we can try that. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? Now, another safeguard you probably noticed that I'm doing is I'm using these 2 fingers for the F chord to touch the strings to help mute. And I use it again for the F6. Can't really do it for the G chord because, well, the fingers are being used to create the chord, and it's the easiest one to mute as well. But it just gives you an extra safeguard. Right? So it's optional. I just want to point that out. You can do that as well. Should be enough with the left hand staccato lifting up, right hand palm mute, but second safeguard is to touch the strings lightly. So food for thought. So now we have the first couple measures intact. We have G to F to G to F6. So let's see if we can try that together. 2, 3, 4. Nice. So not too hard, right? Let's look at measure 3. It's going to be identical to measure 1, so 2 Gs to 2 Fs. Okay? And then if we look at measure 4, it's going to go 2 Gs, and then it's going to switch it up on us. It's going to put a hit on beat 4. Okay? So it sounds like this. I'll count it out. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. And you can hear this time it's getting sustained. So, every now and then we throw a little variation into that rhythm just to switch it up. Doesn't always have to be on the ends, but the ends is the cardinal trait of reggae, so keep that in mind. So let's try this one. Remember, we have 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So hit on beat 4, sustain it out. Here we go. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Nice. If we backtrack, let's try 3 into 4. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Awesome. And if we backtrack again, let's try 1 through 4, which completes everything for theme 1. So here we go. 2, 3, 4. Pretty cool. So the other thing I want to talk about really quick is if you're doing that up strum, you can use a little trick to help mute the 4th string. Now it's okay if you hit the 4th string, but to me I think this thing sounds the best if you really target 1, 2, and 3. So if you're doing an up strum for this stuff, you can do a bit of a reach around with the thumb. So check this out. With the thumb, it's going to come over the edge of the neck. It's going to touch string 4. That way, when I strum up, if I hit string 4, it's muted. So the left hand still has a bit of a U-shaped gap going on. It's not entirely hugging the neck, but it's just doing a little bit of a reach around with the thumb to mute that string. Now you can't really do that approach for the for the second chord, which is the F, unless you play it like this, where you keep that reach around intact and you're only fretting the first fret of string 2. But you can do another muted approach for the last chord, which is F6. And this one, we can touch the 4th string with the very tip of our index finger. And that will mute that 4th string. Okay, so something to, experiment with. This is a really cool trick that you can do if you like the up strum. And this is really good for when you're in a performance setting, right? If you think about being in a performance setting, you're moving around, you're playing for people, and sometimes you're not going to have the most accurate strum 1, 2, and 3 only attack. You may hit all 4 strings. So doing stuff like this comes in handy tremendously in those kind of scenarios. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this now. Let's look at theme number 2, which is just a continuation of these 3 chords. All right, so bar 5, 6, and 7 is identical to bar 1, 2, and 3. So you have 2 Gs, 2 Fs, 2 Gs, F6, 2 Gs, 2 Fs. So that is identical to measures 1, 2, and 3. So let's look at the last one, which is measure 8 going into measure 9. Right, so measure 8 is going to sound, actually let's do this. I'll play 8 into 9. That give you a context of what it sounds like. So it sounds like this. 3, 4. So you can hear ba, 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 ba da da. Okay, so a really classic kind of ending. So it starts with 2 Gs, 1 and 2 and, then it goes to F for the end of 3. So all that stuff is very familiar. But here's where it changes. On the end of beat 4, you're going to do 2 strums. But these 2 strums are a swung 16th note fill. Now we're going to talk a lot about the swung 16th note fill at the beginning of the riff lesson of this, or the riff portion of this lesson. So coming up in just a couple minutes. But in essence, it's a swung 16th fill is the same as a swung 8th note, where it has that da 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 da, that galloping kind of feel, where it's long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. So it's not splitting the rhythm exactly in half. It's making the first hit last longer and the second hit last shorter. So if that's new to you, then check out this lesson because it goes super in-depth explaining what swung rhythm is and how it differs from straight rhythm. But we want to keep in mind that we want da 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 for these last few hits. So we want ba da da. So just sing that. If you can sing it, you can play it. So you're going to do 2 up strums, da da, and then go to a G chord. But keep that rhythm in mind. Da da da. Okay, so up G. And if you're doing the pluck approach, same thing. Pluck, pluck, and then pluck on the G. So if I put these last couple measures together, it sounds like this real slow. 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, so ba, da, da, ba, da, da. Okay, let's try that really slow. 2, 3, 4. Da, da, da. Awesome. Now let's do this. Let's backtrack. Let's try all of theme 2 together. So 5 through 8. 2, 3, 4. Nice. So that's everything for the rhythm part of this lesson. So let's go ahead and move on to learning the riff. And the riff is really cool. So the riff uses 16th note rhythm, but it's syncopated. So that means that we're accenting the weak beats. And that also means that it becomes really difficult to count. So we're actually going to be approaching this part of the lesson by playing by ear, which basically means if you can sing it, you can play it. Now there's another big aspect to this 16th rhythm, is that it has a swung fill. So if you've studied swung 8th note rhythm, it's the exact same thing as swung 16th note rhythm. It creates that galloping kind of sound where you have long, short, so da 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 da, right? So when you take 2 notes, you don't evenly split them like you do with straight rhythm, where it's 1 E and 2 E and right, where everything lasts the same amount of time. Instead, the first note lasts longer than the second note. That's what gives you that long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, instead of da, 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 instead of that even sound. So take a listen to this. I'm going to put the little sheet music playing, and you're going to hear the straight version versus the swung version. Okay, so take a listen to it. So it's pretty evident to hear the difference. Now, if you're new to studying straight versus swung rhythm and really getting that feel down, then you want to check out this lesson before you move on and learn this riff. And I'll put the link in the description box below as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at just the first measure and I'll go ahead and play it, and then we'll break it down and learn it. So it sounds a little bit like this. Okay, so a very catchy riff. Dum ba da 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 ba da da. So get that stuck in your head. If you can sing it, you can play it. It makes it so much easier. So the right hand approach that you can use for finger picking is really loose. There's no right or wrong. You can do whatever feels comfortable for you. For me, I like to use my thumb to play everything on string 2. And then probably my middle finger, or you can use your index to play everything on string 1. So that's going to be my approach. And as we go into the next theme, we're going to switch up the right hand approach to a piccato, but we'll talk about that in a second. So let's go ahead and start off with just the first half, and I'll put the tab up there. Now the first half of this is going to be playing 3 on string 2 with the middle finger, then 2 on string 1 with the index finger. That's it, there's only 2 notes. So 3rd fret, 2nd fret. So we're going to do a staccato hit for that first hit. So you can see that little dot that's below the notation. That means to play it with staccato. So that same approach that we talked about for creating staccato with the chords, we're doing the same thing with the single note. So you want to play the note and then just barely lift up. And you can also do the little safeguard that we talked about, which is doing the palm. Although that's really optional for this. You should be able to get a nice staccato just by lifting up. Okay? So with this, we're going to staccato the first hit, and then we're going to do it again. So play 3 again, and then play 2nd fret, and then back to 3. So 3, 3, 2, 3. So bop, da da da. And you can let the other ones ring out, but keep in mind we have that da da, that galloping swung feel. Bum, ba da da. So 3, 3, 2, 3. If we slow it down, 3, 4. Dum, ba da da. Ready, go. Bum, ba da da. Let's try. Dum, ba da da. Ready, go. One more time. Bum, ba da da. Okay, so not too hard. If we look at the second half, we're going to be moving down to this first position, this first fret. We're going to hit that twice, and you can see it again, staccato, ba, ba. So give me 2 staccatos on the first fret of string 2. And then we're going to play it again, then play the open A, and then back to the first fret. So it's only 2 notes again. Da, 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 da. But you want to staccato the first 2 hits. Da, da, 1, 0, 1. So 1, 1, 1, 0, 1. You can let the other ones ring out. So let's see if we can try that slow. Ready, go. Bum, bum, ba, da, da. Ready, go. Da, 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 da. Ready, go. Ba, 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 da, da. Okay, if we put it together, it starts to make sense. Okay, get it stuck in your head. Da, 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 da. Now let's slow the tempo down. Go about this speed. Okay, let's give it a shot. Ready, go. Nice. So not too hard. The hardest thing I think is just getting that rhythm, but it's so catchy. If you can sing it, you can play it. Now let's look at measure number 2. It starts out identical to measure number 1. So the first half, identical. So let's look at the second half. Now the second half has the same rhythm. We're just playing different notes. Everything is going to be on string 1. And actually here you can kind of switch to that piccato that I was going to talk about in theme 2. Piccato basically means that we're alternate picking. just the second finger, then first, second, first, second, first, second, first. So if you take just the A string, just play the A string open, you can get used to that approach. If you want to dive deeper into that approach and learn, implementing it really well into your playing style, then check out our lesson on RHYTHMIC. I'll put a link in the description box below. But same rhythm, so you want to do 2 staccato hits on 5, use your pinky finger. Okay, so we have ba, ba, then we're going to hit it again, and we're going to do a walk down, 5, 3, 2, so we have 5, 5, 5, 3, 2, right, so staccato, staccato, 5, 3, 2, okay, and we have that little galloping thing too, da, 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 so keep that in mind, that swung feel, ba, 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 da, da. Okay, so let's try that together slow. Da, 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 da. Ready, go. Ba, 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 da, da. One more time. Ready, go. Da, 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 da. So putting that entire measure together, remember, first half is the same as measure 1. 1, 2, ready, go. Right, so really catchy. Dun, da, 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 da. Let's try one more time. 1, 2, ready, go. Bum, da, dum, ba, 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 da, da. Nice. Now let's backtrack. Let's try 1 into 2. 1, 2, ready, go. Nice. Now, going into measure 3, it's identical to measure 1. So let's skip over that and let's look at measure 4. Measure 4 starts out the same. So we know that, but let's look at the ending. The ending is the same rhythm, but this time instead of walking down with the melody, we're walking up. So it sounds like that. So you can use the first finger for 5. Da, da, da. We have the same hits. Staccato, staccato, and then hit it one more time. Then play 7 with the middle finger, and then 8 with the ring finger. So we're just walking up on the A string. Okay, so let's give that a shot. Ready, go. Da, 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 da. One more time. Ready, go. Ba, ba, da, da, da. If we try that entire 4th measure, 3, 4. Cool, slower. 3, 4, dum, ba da dum, ba 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 da da. Okay, and let's try this. Let's try all 1 through 4. Remember, measure 1 and 3 is the same. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. That gives us a basic gist of everything for theme number 1. Now, theme number 2 is identical to theme number 1 in that it's the same melody notes, except it's played an octave up. So that's all we're doing. So if you only have a soprano ukulele, you can just play everything that you learned for theme 1 doubled, because we are going to extend past the 12th fret for this next theme, which sopranos end at the 12th fret. But if you have a concert or a tenor, then let's keep going and let's learn theme number 2. So our second theme is going to be played entirely on the A string. And the right hand approach is going to be the piccato picking that we talked about just a little bit ago. So second, first, second, first, second, first, alternate finger picking. So let's go ahead and look at the 5th measure, and we'll look at the first half of it. So it's going to be the 10th fret with your index finger and your pinky on 14. So we're going to start with the 10th fret of string 1, And we have the same approach as well. So we want to staccato that first hit. And then we're going to play it again, and then play 14 with your pinky, and then back to 10. So that gives us the first half. Ba, da, da, da. So let's just try that. Ready, go. Dum, ba, da, da. Now from here, we're just going to drop down to the 8th fret, or move down to the 8th fret, and our pinky's going to go onto the 12th fret. So those are the two notes for the second half. And remember, that's going to go 2 staccato hits on 8, and then you're going to go 8, 12, 8. So you have ba, 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 da, da. Let's see if we can clear that up. There we go. So not too hard. So let's see if we can give that one a shot. Here we go. Ready, go. Awesome. And if we put it together, we have 1, 2, ready, go. All right, so let's give that one a go. 1, 2, ready, go. Nice. So if we look at the 6th measure, it's going to start the exact same. So you have ba, ba, da, da. You have that same first half. And then this ending of it is going to be the walk down on the first string, right? So you're going to go all the way up to the 17th fret with your pinky. We're going to hit that twice. Ba, ba. Then we'll start the walk down. 17, 15, 14. Okay, so it's kind of hard to get all those to ring out as well, because those frets get so tiny as you go up the neck. Okay, so try your best to get the fingertips right in those frets so it rings out. So let's just try the second half. We have ba, 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 da, da. So here we go. Ready, go. Ba, 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 da, da. If we tie that one together, remember, it starts the same. Okay, so let's give that one a go. Ready, go. So a little tricky because we're playing so high up the neck. But if we backtrack, let's try 5 to 6. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, now here's the good news, that 5 and 6 is the same as 7 and 8. So we have no variation in the 8th measure, kind of like we saw in the 4th measure, had a different little variation. Nothing in this theme number 2, because we're actually going to be ending right after the 8th measure. But let's see if we can add that last little ending part, which is going to be a G chord, and then we'll backtrack and we'll try 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So the last hit is going to be the 9th measure, and you're just going to pluck this higher voice of a G. So it's barring on the 10th fret, strings 1 and 2. Middle finger is 11 on string 3. We have an open G. We can pluck it or strum, doesn't matter. But when you come down, ba, 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 da, da, dum, you're just going to pluck that and end the tune. So let's do this. Let's try all of theme 2 in its entirety, and it sounds a little bit like this. 1, 2, ready, go. So that gives us the basic gist of theme number 2. I think the hardest part is just playing up so high. It's a little bit tricky. So make sure that when you're playing up all the way on the neck, that spot, that your thumb remains at the back of the neck, slightly above the middle. So I see a lot of times folks put their thumb down here to reach out there, but you lose all kind of leverage. So you're not really able to push down with the force needed to get those notes to ring out. So keep that in mind as you work on this section. But that's going to conclude this lesson, guys. So I do want to remind you, if you want to get the tabs to print off and keep for your records, you can do so by clicking this link or going to the site rockclass101.com and doing a search for EP011. That's the lesson number for this lesson. Don't forget, on that page is the really cool interactive tab player, so you can hit play, watch that tab scroll across in real time. You can highlight bars to loop sections, you can slow it down to any speed. Just really, really great tool for tackling this song so much easier. Plus the backing tracks are available for this lesson too. So once you learn the rhythm and the riff, you can play along with the band and rock out at home. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.